What is going on, guys? Here with episode 2 of my podcast. I guess I'm going with Skyline for now, but honestly, um, I can't switch that name back on Instagram. There's something where you can only change it twice in 2 weeks, so I guess we're gonna go with the Skyline for 2 weeks. So yeah, let's get started. Also, want to apologize if it's hard to hear me. This room gets crazy hot, so my AC is going to be on for a little while. I don't think it'll be a problem, um, but yeah, let's really get started here. So again, we're going to start with the market today. Dow Jones went down about 1.45% on the day. Uh, S&P 500 is down 1.79%. Nasdaq almost 2%. S&P 600 about 1.34%. And finally, mid caps doing are down 1.34%. So a red day for the markets. No need to panic. I don't think the Federal Reserve is going to be printing a lot of money moving forward, and that's just going to continue to inflate asset prices. Will we see a crash one day? I don't know. Anyway, Bitcoin is at $10,194, down about 1.3% on the day, and Ethereum's at 358, down about 2.6. Ample is currently at 87 cents on the day. A lot of these assets are kind of building they're kind of consolidating. If you really look at charts, a lot of these charts right now, you can see that they're trying to find the markets are really trying to find a place to, like the price at which we can really see some I guess built up volume, and we could just really try to see some growth off of that. I think right now with Bitcoin crash and the markets kind of crashed a bit, no one knows what to do with their money right now. I think next week is going to be better. Can't speak for next week, but optimism is good, I guess, right? All right. So anyway, also a point. I'm going to go into the weathers now, but a quick point about yesterday. I definitely chose the wrong low and high for the world. I found a way better website this time around. We'll get to that in a minute. But in New York today, it also, I just want to point out, it is September 11th today. I do want to take a quick moment of silence for that. Just looking at the weather here, I saw the date. And just, never forget. Anyway, so now we're going to go into the weather on the day. This Friday is going to be pretty cloudy. There will be some events in the city. I believe they're mostly going to be keeping families. I think families are really only allowed in where the ground zero is this Friday. So yeah, if you decide to go out there, just know that I think you might have some trouble doing that. I've gone one year. Sad. Definitely worth it. But it's sad. It's sad stuff. But yeah, tomorrow's gonna be about 70s. Maybe dips into the 60s early. Then down into the high 60s. Fall's coming. So yeah. So the high of the world. Yeah, this is where I screwed up yesterday. There's no way the high in the world was 91. Right now, in Salibia. Oh man, I've definitely butchered that in Kauai. Good God. Okay. It's 119.5 degrees. That is the high last 24 hours. And the low is definitely not Colorado anymore. It wasn't ever actually low in the world. I think that was just the low in major developed areas. The low in the world is negative 101.6 degrees Fahrenheit on Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, Antarctica. I do not know how many people are out there. Probably none that are not frozen right now. So yeah, um, yeah. So don't go there. So we're gonna actually go into some news now. Kind of some like interesting news. Sports. I think I'm gonna do a little differently moving forward. It's just I'm not a sportscaster. There's so much New York sports news. Like it deserves its own podcast, and I'm sure there are a million people making those. But I do want to talk a little bit about something I did see. Charles Barkley today was asked. I'm actually not sure if it was today. I know it was very recently. He was asked though about why he wasn't in the new 2K 2K21 NBA 2K21, and they asked him also why he hasn't been in any of them. I believe he was in like one recently, sort of maybe as like a extra bonus player. I don't know if they use his real name in it, but I know you could like get him for little. He's just like really popular. As an announcer, he's really popular, but as a player also, a lot of people don't realize he was like that good, and like I know people who play 2K definitely would like to play, but they asked him, why aren't you in it? And his answer was so noble. He wants 2K to negotiate with the Players Association, the NBA Players Association, and pay older players who don't make multi-million-dollar salaries like they do now or didn't back in the day. He'd like them to be paid more fairly. I think he put a number that was like $1 million per player or something for the likeness. I mean, on 2K's end, it would definitely help complete the roster. Probably end up with more sales, right? But he said he won't do it unless those players get paid for their likeness and paid for the right to, like be used and bought practically. Like, millions of copies of this game get sold. Billions of dollars have been made off of it. I mean, there's no players, there's no game, right? Like, if they don't have licenses, I mean, they can't make a game, but like, the licenses really make money. So interesting. Let's see if they do that. I don't think they will. 2K and Take-Two and terrible, like, greedy company, honestly. But I don't know. It's cool to see, particularly athletes, realize that they do have not only like a really specific talent that they can leverage, but also like, just like the ability, just like they're able to see like there's nothing without them in the end. And if you really look at like how revenue sharing works, I mean, players obviously are paid like so much. Owners get like so much more though. And I mean, I don't know. I said before, I think there's going to be mass strikes. It's like as the value of the dollar decreases, on top of like, I guess just like, just everything, like as the dollar decreases, people aren't going to be making. If people are making $15 an hour, like that's going to eventually be the federal minimum wage, and that it'll be by then like $15 will be worthless, honestly, or at least it won't be worth anything for too long, and then it'll be another X amount of years until they raise it to like 25 minimum wage, and then I don't know. That's just its own problems. I don't know. Just keep eyeing that. That's all I gotta say. So yeah, so a little more fun stuff. Even though I'm tired of this, like, keeping up with the Kardashians ending. My like opinion of it was that like they're really playing with fire having Kanye on the show. Particularly, I never watched it. Like I might have seen like a couple clips in the past. I know it's pretty damaging to America, honestly. I dated a couple people that really loved it, but like I don't know. It's been on TV since 2007 on E. 14 years. 14 years. So they're ending next year. Sorry. So 14. They started 2007. They're ending 2021. And yeah. Kind of crazy. I didn't know this. Right. I'm looking at the article here. I didn't know this, but the two production partners are Bunim Murray, who I don't know who that is, but it's Ryan Seacrest also produces this show. But But I mean, I think even if like for one, I thought Kanye was eventually going to do something bad on the show. He's off his rocker. I hear rumors of them divorcing. I don't know what's going on there. It's not my business in a way, but like it's interesting. It's interesting to see this ending. And I know there's been some like interesting campaign finance stuff with Kanye. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I think this is definitely, even though the show's ending, this is not going to be the last that we see of these people, without a doubt. And it's not going to be in a good way. Okay, so Eminem. You don't hear much about him anymore, but someone broke into his house and like just apparently got a brick or something, like threw it through a window, and then like he's just like walking, like some guy just like comes up to him in his house. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you." Like, what the hell? So like they just like he just crazy, like props to him, man. But like apparently like the story is that he like this guy just popped up like behind him. He like woke up and maybe he was just staring at him or something. But the guy says he was here to kill Eminem, and Eminem just kind of like got up and walked the guy out. Like nothing really. I don't even think he's really like aggressive with him or anything. He just kind of like walked him out. Like it could have been so much worse for the guy, but at the same time, I also think Eminem probably beat someone's ass. But like right now, the guy's being held on $50,000 bond. He walked the guy out of the exit, go to his home, and I guess the authorities came in. I think he has security, great security by the way, let him right through. Then they came in and just took him, and the guy got arrested. He's on a $50,000 cash bond. Excuse me. But I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of money. Guy's clearly not in his right head. Judge denied a request to lower the bail. I mean, Eminem is also like a very, like he is like really one of the most well-known people to ever come out of Michigan. Like he's, they're gonna protect this guy without a doubt, and I'm sure he's every right to. He's contributed so much to the area, but yeah. Excuse me again. But interesting story. You don't hear about him too much anymore. More it's like him being angry, being a bad rapper. But yeah. So next article, fun article. So this woman in like Exeter, New Hampshire. So they're doing their primaries right now, and basically like she brought in this shirt that said McCain Hero Drumpf 0. T-shirt, right? And like basically there's a Trump 0, not Drumpf 0. I have an app on here that changes his name to Drumpf. So biased. I try not to be, but yeah, so anyway, yeah, McCain Hero Trump 0's t-shirt. She like basically came with a shirt, and they were just like, they accused her of like electioneering. So she just like whipped it off. She just like, screw it. Just took it off and voted. And like, that was it. She voted, she put it back on, she left. Kind of cornball. Funny stuff. I don't know. It's silly. I mean, whatever. It's American politics. Crazy. Fun story. So we're going to go into like a little more, some New York news. So they're gonna be like, I have like some beef with this actually. So, so basically, they're gonna be putting a $50 fine if you don't wear a mask on the train. So like on its face, right? Like that sounds like an idea. And like on its face, you would think, okay, so they're just trying to like make people wear the masks when they're inside the train. Like everyone's in close quarters. Like. Yeah, it's safer to wear. You have to please wear your mask, right? So like basically, he's putting a $50 fine. So it's like not like a secret that New York got murdered by this virus. Like there's something like 8 billion in debt. Like they had to pay out like so many people, and like obviously like for the right reason. Like I'm definitely for that. Like anyone knows me knows like I'm definitely for that. But like, so it's just like it's like a silly way, like $50, same price as the little less than like a parking ticket. Trying to get some revenue, and you can go and say like, oh well, like yeah, but people need to wear masks. Like yeah, 100%. But like, if you really want to make like an actual like, like people do things, get them masks. Like honestly, like give people masks. I mean, if you're gonna like, might as well just. I don't know. Doesn't seem uh honest to me. It seems like kind of something that New York has done in the past from a lot of political pressure. Actually, have been forced to do this is kind of just throw taxes on things, right? And like, um, before like the '70s, you weren't really seeing like these taxes on like like every sale, like I don't know, just all these weird taxes. And they because they had to raise money. The banks stopped lending to them, and they needed the money, and they were strapped for cash. And I don't know, a lot of social services people didn't agree with it. A lot of banks and the conservative government said we're not going to give you money unless you start changing things, and they had to make since they weren't going to be able to borrow. I mean, that's not really right either to borrow in mass, but like, you're putting it on the next generation, which we see right now since there's so many taxes here in New York. But I don't know, didn't seem honest. If you really want to help people, go give them masks, or like teach someone to fish. Like, don't. Jesus didn't give people like tickets. I don't know. Not really religious. Just I don't know. Silly. So let's see. So back. Actually, gonna want to circle back on a story from yesterday. Well, we'll come back to that later. But so we're going back to California. I was reading about 2 days. We're looking about two days before this fire starts to really cool down. Anybody like who hasn't heard about this or seen the video, or it is psychotic. It is crazy. It looks like the end of the world. On top of the pandemic, it is just I can't even believe this stuff, man. It is it's scary, and I saw literally whole towns have burned down. California, and it's I don't know what's gonna happen over the next couple of years. Like, it's just sometimes like this episode of South Park where like Stan's mom is like really freaked out about everything. Like there's a school shooting at his school and everyone's just kind of fine with it. She's like, how is the world not falling to pieces, right? And like sometimes like I look at California stuff, I'm like why is this just like you would think like when you start to see this stuff, like I don't know, like things would really something would change in the world. It just seems like we just watch it burn. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. Maybe it's not big. I mean, it's bad. It's a big deal. Maybe maybe tomorrow cools down. But it's just one of these moments, man, where you're just like, what the hell? It's like I don't know. Don't know. Some other news: Century 21 is closing. They will be closing their doors. They try to get some insurance payments. Filing for bankruptcy. They had 13 stores and mostly in New York City, about 1,400 employees. They just couldn't, they got cooked. It's interesting. I think bankruptcy nowadays is very different. It could be a kind of I'd say different in like a strategy wise. It's very I guess it could be a strategy to declare bankruptcy. I'm not even smart enough to really go through an entire situation, but what I will say is don't expect all these companies that are going bankrupt to be gone forever. That's all I gotta say on that. Indoor dining. So they are looking after a lot of pressure from restaurants and gyms and all that. They're starting to open a lot of indoor stuff. But so apparently the mayor's saying right now we're at a 1% infection rate. If it hits 2%, Mayor De Blasio is going to reevaluate indoor dining immediately. I think this is just a great idea. There will be many criticisms of Mayor De Blasio and all the mayors moving forward. Like just for the rest of my life probably on this podcast. But hey, that's good. Go for the 2%. If it gets that bad, reevaluate, see what we're messing up, and this is good. This is better than just everything shutting down, because even if that is the ideal way to do things, we just let this pass, right? Like it's we gotta live, we gotta unhook from the consumer economy, or we have to open. with masks and proper cleaning and all that stuff. I went to the gym today actually. Good times. Really, no one in there. Crazy. It's like really crazy. I mean, I went pretty early, but no one there. A lot of like oh my god, place is spotless. Blink actually, but yeah. All right. Next story. God, just talking about everything right now. We're gonna actually go back to now. We're gonna circle back to a story from yesterday. So they about 16 teachers actually tested positive coronavirus. Out of 15,000. Sorry. Out of 15,000 teachers, 16 tested positive. Lower than the regular rate. Kind of. I mean, I don't think they all got it from school. Maybe just I think just from being outside and life and stuff. And also you have to remember, it is also most people a mild disease. Not to downplay it, but like, yeah, most people with a mild disease, a lot of people, I mean myself included, I know like around like January, February, like just, I don't know, like you just had this kind of, a lot of people I knew kind of had like a weird like fever. It wasn't like, I wasn't even like just one long fever. It just felt, I don't know. I felt like just sick for 3 weeks. I never really, I remember thinking before any of this, I was like, I never really felt like this in my life before. But I would pass, did my quarantine. I was very lucky in my family, but, yeah, I don't know. So like I said, it is, most people, it is a very, very mild, disease. And I'm hoping that the schools don't like get too bad. Teachers are really, really in danger right now. And then again, this goes back to them just not being paid well. But like, hey, maybe some of those mass tickets will pay the teachers. I don't know, man. But I could definitely see teacher strikes or the union saying like, we're not gonna, we're like, you gotta, something has to change here. They were also saying a bunch of schools did not pass the code, the cleaning code. And honestly, like the bigger controversy with the teachers is that like now they're gonna open it. That's the main point of this whole story. I actually didn't realize I should have mentioned that. So like the freaking like tracers never like called. Apparently, they didn't call like other teachers or anything. They just didn't like do the education department's protocols. And like they're just, it's just like, come on, like we're gonna like the world is sacrificing. Really, like the world is sacrificing, and people are getting antsy, man. And maybe those people aren't right, but like you can't like what the fuck, honestly, like what the fuck, like you gotta have the tracers do their jobs too. So there has to be something here. This is gonna be just a freaking pain in the ass for years, I think. Oh, just deleted my show notes. That would have been bad. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. That's my little rage moment. There's gonna be a couple more probably today. So yeah, so let's see what else we're doing here. I guess just kind of again want to talk about like Donald Trump's comments yesterday about like not scaring people or spooking people or making people anxious or panicking people. Like, you can definitely be serious about something and not cause a panic. Like, people in New York knew that, like, 750 people were dying a day. And, I mean, there was panic, but, like, the panic was that people went to the freaking stores in mass and just bought everything they could because it looked like the world was ending. And we just stayed inside, and it was fine. And you can, like, I saw a really good, like, comment today that was just, like, going out and saying, like, I want to keep people calm. I genuinely think he believed that, and yeah, I mean, if I was in his shoes, I'd be the same way. I wouldn't want to be panic people, right? But like, if you're gonna go and say you're like the general of this like war against the coronavirus, and you want to put yourself like front and center of that, right? Like as he said, he was like you're at war or whatever with invisible enemy and this and that. Like you can't like go out into the trenches and like be like, the enemy doesn't exist, or to keep your like troops calm, because they're gonna die bluntly. That's what happens. Like, like if you're gonna be out in front of your troops, you have to say, this is what it is. This is what it is. We're prepared. We're gonna plan. We're gonna do this and that. And honestly, the panic, I saw it. Sager and Giretti on the Hill this morning made a great point. Like, if you like, what caused the market to crash, which is obviously what he was really afraid of, right? Was like that people didn't know what the hell was going on, didn't know what the government response was. Like, they were freaked out, so like everyone withdrew their money, and like so like he did the opposite. I think if you're looking at a really organized response to this, markets would have been probably fine, honestly, because they ended up like, I mean, there was, I don't know, markets aren't the real world. I hate to even equate the two, but I don't know. It just seemed like he went to really damage himself. Like I said, whoever likes him. Who doesn't is what it is. Okay, so I think like my main story, if you want to call it like a main story, I don't really know how I'm doing this. Okay, actually, we're gonna hit one more like kind of silly story, and then we're gonna go to like the main story. So there was like an escaped prisoner. I think most people listening to this are from Brooklyn. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Actually, I have friends in Florida and stuff, but like, yeah. So like this prisoner like escaped from like federal custody in like Park Slope, and not Park Slope, Sunset Park, and was just like running around. He ran. They were searching business for this guy. He had. If you're really down there, so there's the article on what I was saying. You can get into like people's backyards if you go on 3rd Avenue. Like it's really not hard. Honestly, if you like, you really wanted to do it, not hard. The guy was like kind of slick. He jumps into people's backyards. He was running. Like, people were saying they chased him with like a meat cleaver and stuff. And eventually, like, some guy found him. All right, let me actually pull the actual like quote out. So he said he's been sitting behind my chair for 3 hours. This guy like just broke into this guy's house. He was running through like backyards, found an open door, like slipped through the open door and just hid behind this chair for like 3 hours. And like the guy like walks in, he sees a weird lump, and he like picks it up, and there's a head like staring at him. He like runs out, and he's like, the guy's in here, and they just arrested him. And like, I don't know. Also, those cops were like kind of, I don't know the whole story. I don't know how he escapes or anything. Hilarious story, honestly. But they got him. Don't know. So that'll be like the light story before we go into the freaking the 2 like awful stories. Next story is actually a little bit. I got like 2 pretty big stories on the day. Kind of like a smaller one from Bob Woodward's book. But Donald Trump admitted in an interview with him that he helped Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman like kind of like get out of the murder of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi of the Washington Post. He was just saying like just like, let me find the actual quote because it's like kind of weird. So basically, like, he was boasting that he protected this crown prince. This has been Business Insider, by the way. So this is in 2018, right? It feels like 10 years ago at this point. He's saying like, he saved his ass. He got Congress to leave him alone. He was able to get him to stop, right? So whose side are you on here? Because this guy just killed an American and like ignored all the intelligence services. And then like he was saying like, he had a quote. It was kind of weird. He was like, here it goes. So a reporter pressed him on Donald Trump today, actually asked him what he meant by he saved his ass, and Trump replied, "You have to figure that out yourself." Weird thing to say, a little bit treasonous, whatever. But he said Saudi Arabia spent billions of dollars on U.S. products and stuff, and yeah, right that next month they just kind of did it. They invited him over to the White House and claimed they didn't do it, and he was like, "Well, he spent $400 billion, Bob," and it's just like, okay. Like, you see it. He also vetoed. I'm just going to throw a couple of stats in. By the way, like, on 9/11, like, Saudi Arabia was definitely, like, like almost practically responsible. I don't want to say anything too reckless, but they definitely were partially responsible for what happened today. Uh, 20 years, 19 years ago. But like, so just some other stuff that Donald Trump did in support of Saudi Arabia. He vetoed a bipartisan bill to end U.S. support for the Saudis in Yemen. Has led to a devastating humanitarian crisis. And they killed civilians using U.S.-made bombs in Saudi, like in Yemen. That's just awful, right? Like, he also bypassed Congress to push through an $8 billion arms sale to Saudi Arabia and the United States, United Arab Emirates, and he vetoed several resolutions blocking the sale. Right, and then he moved to circumvent decades-old arms control pact in order to sell weaponized drones to Saudi Arabia and other countries in the regions, which got bipartisan backlash. So wow, that's I don't know. You could say America supported Saudi Arabia for a very long time, and the people, the countries out there, the people out there are individuals. I would never, but the governments out there are just beyond corrupt. Coming from someone living in a corrupt government, it's just nothing compared to. I don't know. I'm getting out of hand. All right, so this was story 1B. Story 1A is just sad, man. So the war on terror. So according to Brown University, they ran a study, which I'm going to read everything that they found from that study, but they call it the cost of war. The cost of war project. So they calculated at least, and this according to the New York Times, the report found that at least 37 million people have been displaced as a direct result of the war on terror. The people in those regions, at least 37 million. The real figure is supposedly between 48 and 59 million. And it's oh my god, that's seriously one of the worst genocide practically. It is is honestly really pushing it. I'm going to read some other stats from this whole report because there are a lot of findings, and there's a summary on their website. Definitely look up. It's called The Costs of War. But Brown University did this study. Here's the summary of the findings. At least 800,000 people have died due to direct war violence, including armed forces on all sides of the conflict, contractors, civilians, journalists, humanitarian workers. It's likely more have died indirectly to these wars due to malnutrition, damaged infrastructure, environmental degradation. Over 335,000 civilians have been killed in direct violence by all parties to these conflicts. 7,000 U.S. soldiers have died in the wars. That's also every number here is horrible, but it isn't even the worst numbers. But just the fact that it's 7,000 U.S. soldiers is a lot. That's a lot, and that is an absolute minuscule number compared to all the other people here who have been really hurt and killed, and I don't know, they've probably bred more terrorists than anything. So they don't know the full extent of how many U.S. servicemen returned from these wars, became injured or ill while deployed. They didn't report a lot of contractor stuff. Okay, 21 million people in Afghanistan, Iraqi, Pakistan and Syria are living as war refugees and internally displaced persons in grossly inadequate conditions. And the U.S. government, on top of this, is conducting counter-terror activities in 80 countries and continuing to expand this war on terror. I know they talk about how they've led to the loss of civil liberties and rights here in America. This isn't gonna stop. They've funded like it's been cost like $200 billion to fund reconstruction efforts in Iraq and Afghanistan, and most of those funds have gone towards arming security forces in both those countries. They don't. It's like so much fraud and stuff. It's here we go. Here's the full cost: 6.4 trillion for the cost of going to war in Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Syria. And, like, doesn't include future interest costs on borrowing for the war. So we borrow like crazy to do this. And they're looking to add an extra 8 trillion in the next 40 years. I was telling someone I guarantee we're going to be looking at like a straight up doubling of the deficit in the next decade. Like, it's bad. And it's just, I mean, it has hurt. It's hurt the economy. There's probably more. There's more here. I got to look at myself on this. Probably talk about it tomorrow. But they're talking about that United States, the effect on the U.S. economy. I don't know. It just hasn't like there haven't been results from it. It's at this point it's very similar to how we're kind of hooked to this consumer economy, right? Like we're so hooked to being in Afghanistan and Iraq and Syria and like Pakistan and all these countries, and like we're so used to being in there that we're so hooked that an awful thing, or I guess what started as supposedly like a noble attempt to really fight for those we lost on 9/11. Well, it was like an attempt to, I don't even know how honest the attempt was. I don't know. It just hasn't worked, man. They both, like Iraq and Afghanistan, they're ranked extremely low in global studies of political freedom. Like, women still have no power, man. Like, a sad one here. Like, a high number of war widowhood. You don't even think about that sometimes, man. But they're real people. There's real people out here, and endless wars. Like, this is what it is. This should be all over everything. I think this was kind of the main story of the day. I don't know, probably not, because, you know, all the mainstream medias love these endless wars. They make them so much money, right? But, I don't know. A Daily Beast actually had it #1 on their site, which is pretty cool. They're not known. They're known for having a mixed record. But that's it. I mean, that's it. It's messed up, man. It's messed up. I hope, you know, moving forward, hope that, you know, whoever, like, next administration comes in, like, after, like, all these people are really gone, you know, not just, like, Trump, right? Like, once, like, all these people are gone, all these older people, like, you know, Mitch McConnell, like, a lot of, I mean, once you really see both these parties just completely rewritten, I think then we'll start to see this end. But I don't know when who knows when that's going to be. Who knows? I mean, this has been the year, freaking keeping it with the Kardashians ending next year. So maybe, like, it's next year. Or, I don't know. Yeah, do we have anything else for the day? I don't think so. Gonna try to do, like, I guess, moving forward, want to do, like, interviews. I guess if anyone does listen this far, I'll probably reach out to a couple friends, but if anyone does want to help me with this, I enjoy this. This is fun. I recommend anybody who, like, you know, wants to do this, like, jump in and just go for it. Try to be as factual as possible. Like, that's something I really want to do. I don't want to spread fake news, be a problem. But so that's definitely why I'm asking for any help. If anyone wants to reach out, like, definitely happy. Definitely would take the help. There's a lot of articles and stuff, a lot of news, man. Like, and I would love to be able to kind of be able to report on some of the more obscure stuff, maybe more sports. I don't know. Being a sportscaster never has really been a dream of mine or anything, but I mean, I would love, you know. I don't know. So I thank you for listening. If you made it this far, yeah. See you tomorrow. Love and respect. A lot of fun, and be good.